Hi, and welcome to another episode of Mash Hacks. My name is Cull, and today we're going to be going through a brew pot construction. I'm going to look at how to drill holes in a stainless steel pot and how to prepare your fittings so that nothing leaks. Let's get into it. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. First of all, here's my 19 litre stainless steel pot. This guy is only 20 bucks from, where is it, Big W? Bit of a bargain. It's pretty cheap, pretty thin, but it'll do. It's stainless steel. The first thing I've done is laid out the bits and pieces I'm going to need. So at the front here I'm going to be attaching a 3-piece ball valve, and you can see all of the bits involved there. We've got the barb at the front, the 3-piece ball valve in the middle. We've got a lock nut, a washer, and a silicone O-ring, then another lock nut, all on this threaded barb here. And that is going to go at the front as my spigot. On the side here, I'm going to attach this thermowell. You can see that it's just basically a cavity to slide a probe into. And again, this just has a lock nut, a silicone O-ring, a washer, and then it's threaded onto the thermowell itself. And then on this side, just got a little bit of a return barb. All this is going to do is sit sort of up here like that and let me attach a hose to return liquid back into this pot. And this is just another barb, washer, silicone O-ring, and lock nut. That guy can go back there. So I've laid out my bits. Now let's take a look at the tools we're going to need. For starters, you're going to need a drill. I like to use a 5.5mm masonry bit to do the initial hole. That just helps this pilot bit cut through the pot easier. If you just do it with this carbide bit, it's going to take forever to get through. So this one punches a hole through first, then this pilot drill bit, which is slightly bigger than the 5.5mm one, it has a little hole to guide it, and then we have the hole saw. This is a carbide hole saw. It's a Ken's. There you go. TCT hole saw for stainless. So basically, it's just a specialized bit for cutting stainless steel. This is a pretty thin pot, so it should crunch through it pretty quickly. This is just the basic Ryobi toolkit that I got the 5.5mm bit from. There's my drill. It's pretty good. I love this one. Ryobi, good stuff. This will be plenty. I like to drill, as you can see, on about notch 10 in gear 1, which gives it plenty of power but doesn't burn your bits. I've got an Azedo tool here. This is just a rotary tool that I use to clean up any burrs or make the hole slightly bigger if they're not big enough. And also some WD-40, because you need to keep your drill bit lubricated, and you need to make sure that you drill nice and slowly, basically as slowly as you can go while still cutting, to keep everything nice and cool so you don't warp or break your bits, your drill bits that is, and also so you don't warp the metal. But yeah, there's an overview of everything we need. Let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing you'll notice me doing is marking out where I'm going to put the spigot. I like to use the super scientific method of 1 finger's width from the ground. I'm just going to use the marker to mark a hole there. Next I'm going to mark out the thermowell. And now it doesn't matter how big you draw the circle, or if you go around the nut like I am, as long as you drill the hole in the center, you should be fine. I'm also going to do the return barb, just marking that out with a marker as well.
Okay, so we've drilled, or rather we've marked out our spigot hole, thermowell hole, and our return barb hole. Let's start by cutting this one, the spigot hole. Hello, birdie. All right. All right, we're done. Now this usually takes quite a fair bit longer on thicker stainless steel. It can take us up to probably 5 to 10 minutes sometimes of just straight drilling through like 1.2 mil steel or a 1 to 2 millimeter stainless steel. Is the return barb. Again, not really an exact science with me. The standard 1/2 inch thread that we use takes, and you can see that drills it pretty much exactly, and this is a 22 mil hole saw. Alright, let's get started. Bit of lube. That was tough. By the way, I'm not an expert, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. There we go. And there we go. Just a little bit of a clean, and don't forget your spring. Okay, now we're gonna basically just clean up some of these burrs and some of these holes using this Zito rotary tool. I've just got a stone or a masonry stone, some sort of grinding bit. I'm just gonna quickly go around these because they look quite, yes, very sharp. Alright, welcome back. We're back at my place now and it's time for assembly. All the pots are drilled. I've cleaned up any degreaser, WD-40 that we used. Everything's nice and clean and ready to be fitted. Now one thing to remember is that you put your O-ring on the inside of the pot, and a good way to think about it is if you had a big pool full of water and you had a big hole in the side, water's going to be pushing its way out. It's easier to put your hand on the inside and cover the hole to stop, water getting out than it is to put your hand on the outside and try and push the water back in. That's how I like to think about it. Alright, just a few turns there. Okay, so you notice that we finished so that if I were to screw with my fingers like this, all it's doing is, tightening it, keeping it down, and that's what we want to see. I like to go the whole length of the thread. Really you only need it in the places where water's going to get to. So return barb, return hole, thread it through like that. Put your O-ring on the inside, and I'll turn this around in a second so you can see. Not sure how well you can see that, but there's the inside there. And if you have a look at these nuts, you'll notice that there's a flat side and then there's this like divot on the inside, a bit of a bevel, and that's to let the O-ring seat properly and really get a good seal. That's all there is to it. Just a couple of turns and snap it off. There we go. Should be able to pretend to screw in, keep it tight. So, same again. Washer on the outside. Slide it through. Put your O-ring on. This one's probably going to be really tricky to see, but here we go. Nut. Grab that hole on the inside. Tighten her up. And finally, the ball valve. Now this one's got quite a few moving bits, so I'll roll through them one by one. Let's deconstruct this here. Okay. So the 3-piece ball valve looks like that. You can see straight the way through it, and then if I were to close it, you can't anymore. This actually undoes, and it's a good idea to do it to clean it up from time to time, pulling it apart. I've yet to though, so I'm probably, practicing horrible sanitation, but I have yet to pull one of these apart, and it's been about 2 years, so they're probably due for it. This one here, this is the, 5 centimeters-ish worth of threaded barb, and we've just got 2 lock nuts, a washer and an O-ring. So it's very similar, but we've just got to thread tape everything. Alright, that will do. Threaded barb. So let's carefully slide that guy in there. I guess what's tricky about these guys is there's no way to tighten them. You've got to just do that. Okay, so next we will put on our outer fittings. So we have a nut and our washer. And you can choose to put this as far back or forward as you like. I prefer to push it right up against the valve. Alright, nut washer on the outside. Carefully slide that through, don't want to rip up your thread tape too badly. And this one you're going to need to hold. Let me put your O-ring. And then finally your lock nut again. Jack on the inside. Alright, and there we have it. We're done. This needs tightening up a lot, but essentially now you have your brew pot all ready to go. And that usually turns out a fair bit cheaper than buying pre-cut, pre-drilled pots. It's quite simple to do yourself. And yeah, stay tuned. If you've got any comments, let us know. Otherwise, have a good one. Cheers.